So when you are in a relationship with a colleague or whatever, you actually have to work extra hard, and you have to show that you're not being confused. You're not you really know what you're doing. Guys, is this just a fling? What's happening? Is there marriage? Are parents knowing how far? I think you literally have to intervene.
I don't think my 2000 are up for this.
Yeah, but they have to, because it's gonna cause drama. Because
at the point where you break up, you just seem so unserious.
That's my problem. Yes, people break up all the time outside, and it's normal. Now you like this.
So even becomes so difficult now. Even it becomes tricky because you can't even apply leave. You have to literally separate your leaves now. You see, I think it will be important for someone to watch all the previous episodes that we have done. I feel like you can't just come from nowhere. That's one of the things that I'm saying.
And what I'm about to say.
Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing great. Welcome to another episode of Uncut with Tate. Man, we are really excited. And as always, I've got my crew behind the scene. Shout out to you guys and thank you for coming. And I've got my beautiful co-host here. Pals, thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
So today we will be talking about something that I think is really interesting. Something about relationships in the marketplace, in the workplace, relationship with your colleagues, relationship with your crushes, people that, there's always drama in the workplace. Because, I mean, that's the space that you spend most of your time with, every day. I think you spend more time at work than any other. So it forms its own ecosystem and its own dynamics. So it's one of those things that I wanted us to talk about, to say, these relationships, especially with colleagues, how do we, maybe we're going to start unpacking relationship with colleagues. How do we handle, relationship with colleagues, and also how do you handle relationship with crushes?
You always have to put in the crushes.
Yes, the crushes will crush you if you don't handle them well. If you don't handle them well. So there is a way that I think we have to deal with it. So I think that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about. And I think from experience, I think relationships generally are, they're the currency of life in any ecosystem you find yourself. And I think it's important, to have good relationships, with your colleagues, in terms of having a rapport. Because, I mean, these are the people that you're going to be working with. And these are the people you spend most of your time with. Especially if you're going to be spending most of your time with. It's different from someone you just meet in traffic or in a queue, somewhere else. You're not going to spend the, majority of your time with it. So if you are going to really, enjoy the space, because most of the, challenges that I have with clients, they just don't like the space. And I'm asking, dude, you work in a state of the art, building. It's nice. It's got nice coffee. Everything nice happens coffee. There. You've got to. But the main thing you'll find, like the working environment. I just don't
healthy.
feel, because the relationships might have gone sour, and it becomes a very difficult space. Yes. So I don't know. What do you guys think?
Relationships in any settings are a tricky situation. You really need to apply yourself and really be intentional about making them work. But definitely at work, relationships are key. I think the level of relationship, though, needs to be defined, because I don't know where you draw the line. Do we go into friendship mode? Do we stay on colleague mode? Are we family? I think we just, those lines just need to be, what's appropriate. They need to be defined, and
I think it's one of the things that I've seen that helps is the culture, even from leadership point of view. Are they treating it, in a professional, cutthroat, New York style, where it's just business. We are not here to be friends. We're just here for business. I think for I would really, advise someone, I think there are certain people that I think you just must have like a professional relationship with, because some of the boundaries, those lines, they can be blurry, and if they are not really defined, that's when, you know, the overlap can start being, there can be a lot of familiarity, you know, because you have this thing of people having work husbands, you know.
Such a thing now.
It's such a thing. So I would really encourage people, I think the first step is, you know, let's be professional. I think from that level of professionalism, if that level of professionalism then develops into friendships, and I think what does it take to make a friend? I think we share the same values.
Yeah.
We have defined the things that we want. We are, you know, aiming the same thing. We've got the same mindset. So I think definitely it can, you know, develop and evolve into that space, not in the space where automatically, because we are colleagues, we share the same parking, automatically we are friends. Doesn't mean so. And because many a times people have really been betrayed by those spaces. You know, the very same person that you thought, you know, they were a friend, you know, they are not willing, you know, when you are charged.
To come and testify on your
always
behalf.
talk to clients to say, okay, you say people love me, you know, Tate, people love me, I've got good, like, okay, are they willing to come and you know, testify on your behalf? You know, they some of them, you know, they always call me back, you know, with the very sad, like, no, they said, you know, they're not sure, they don't remember, and they wouldn't want to jeopardize, you know, the employment relationship, because it comes to that. So I think the professional it becomes, it's better. And I think for this podcast, because I think the reason why we did it is we want people to do well in the marketplace. These are for people who want to do well. So I think the workspace is about you knowing how to deal with relationships, and you deal with them at a high level. And I think one of the things that I always advise people is, if you are too much into friends, you form crews, you know?
I wanted to move to that one. But you go ahead.
Yeah, so you form crews. And these crews depend, is it a positive crew or a negative crew? You know, so you need to actually find out what type of, you know, crew are you dealing with, because most of the times the majority is not the positive ones. It's not I've never seen eager beavers being a crew. You hardly find an eager beaver is the one who's isolated. But the ones who cause a whole lot of drama, you know,
cliques,
you know, they are the cliques, and you know, you don't want management to paint you with the same brush.
And they mostly form because they don't like their manager. Or
it's like having a common enemy.
Yes, having a common enemy. And then we gather around. It starts like that. Like, you see what Palesa is doing.
So I have a question with that, right? So now let's say you're that person, right?
Which one? The crew person?
No, you're the person who's, you know, you're an eager beaver. You want to make your line manager
solo
proud,
girl.
and now you find yourself running solo because of that, you know. And let's say it's in a culture or in a space where they constantly encourage, you need to be a team player, you need to be someone who's easy to work with. You know, you don't be that person that nobody wants to be around. So how does one balance being an eager beaver, which sometimes means being alone and not being like, people don't want to associate with you at times, but still managing to have good relationships with your coworkers? Is there a balance between that?
I think everything is a balance. I usually call them touch and goes, because in the sense that you have to definitely be a team leader, because you need a buy-in from the
you cannot do it alone.
You can't do it alone.
They'll frustrate you.
But I think you need to
sabotage you.
But you need to play your it's chess, not
it's
checkers.
A wisdom game.
So you have to literally know where can I be a team player. If we are doing work, things that are operational requirements, reports, supporting one another, man, you are there.
Supporting them to the T.
With the naughty crew. But when it comes to spaces, especially in the social spaces, because that's where all of these things happen. The lunch breaks, the tea breaks.
Yes.
So that's where those,
drinks.
the rumor mongering and those in the after
and the
drinks.
gossips.
So you have to literally be, wise, in terms of how you're going to navigate that. And don't be, you shouldn't be, when we are saying a loner, it doesn't mean that you don't hang out with them.
People.
but don't hang out with them to the point that they expect. There's an expectation for you to join their cause.
Okay, so
because
never build an expectation.
Yeah, and also I don't know. For me personally, what I've experienced is that. Like sometimes, not even in a bad way, not like you're a clique because you don't like stuff or you're a clique because you have a common enemy, but sometimes you form genuine friendships at work, right? So now I've got a genuine friendship because we have the same values or we have the same ambitions and whatnot, and we have this friendship, and now it's progressed. It's like sisterhood now, right?
Yeah.
And then what then happens is that there's a level of loyalty that's expected. Yeah. So now if my sister here, is in a situation, even though I don't agree with her stance, I have to stand by her because there's a level of loyalty that's expected in that friendship. And now it also compromises my relationships, other relationships at work. For example, she's got an issue with our manager. Say we have the same manager. My loyalty is with my sister here, and now it compromises my relationship with my manager. So it becomes tricky when you have that level of friendship at the office.
I know of very bad experiences with colleagues. For example, this may sound so petty, but it's a real thing. Who, for example, can see your WhatsApp status, follow you on Instagram, and in some even instances know where you stay, and I've been there. So now, Bells, based on what you're sharing now, yes, we develop this sort of close, intimate relationships with our colleagues, and it sort of trickles now into our personal spaces, either be it personal social medias or even to the point where colleagues go to each other's homes and they know where you stay and all of that. And then now there's this case where I previously worked, a very big company. This girl, so I think she had blocked all of us. But there was this one who could see her Instagram and her WhatsApp statuses. On this particular Monday, she had called in sick. Actually, it was for a couple of days. She had called in sick, and I think her friend in the crew, and I don't think it was malicious. I don't think it was intentional. She just sort of revealed that, X person is where. And it's like, so the manager is now in the same, it was so awkward. It's like, but that's not the story that I received, And when she came back, the manager held back and was like, I'll wait for the sick note and I'll interrogate it from that point of view. So now because I know that Palesa is the only person who follows me here, I take it as friends, such betrayal. Why would you talk about something that I shared with you
in confidence?
Yes, in confidence, and then now I'm compromised, and she was literally suspended for the faking of the sick note because it wasn't genuine when she came back. But it really deterred their relationship. They were in the same team. One even then went to go work in a different team in the same department. Like it really fractured their friendship, because of that sort of intimacy in the workplace.
Yeah, I think that's why it's important to try and keep staff professional. And I think I would advise people, guys, with this, social media, a lot of, clients, they say they get a sick note, but they are not sick, and then they, go on, some holiday or, some escapade, whether golf or whatever.
Tricky.
And what they do is
I wouldn't even enjoy the thing. I'd be worried half the time. Why do you do that?
I mean, you'll always be caught, because the challenge with that is there's this drive. Once people have, gotten this, they've got, away from work, they also want to show the other colleagues that, life is better. They are doing well.
Out there must know.
And someone will just find you, because it's a very small world.
Someone will share it, and someone will...
Rather, if you were to go to those events, not advisable. Take leave so that you can post, freely at whatever time you want to show the colleagues that you are doing well. It's happening. But if you are going to use company processes like a sick leave, that goes to the heart. That's a gross dishonesty. They're gonna fire you. They're not gonna. Relationship. It breaks down. So I think that's why it's also important to just keep your life private. I think it's a safe net, to just keep your
especially if
your
you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. Exactly. I don't think colleagues are the people you want to be doing that thing with.
Yes, because the issue is, once that relationship is broken, people are going to, go to the closet, and then they're going to, review all those skeletons. So I think it's it's advisable to try and be as professional as you can, but as friendly as you can as well. So there's a balance.
Yeah.
So I think it's one of those interesting spaces. Yeah.
So in being friendly, right? Are you being friendly and really, really not sharing personal information about yourself? What are the limits in terms of, because I think something that you've shared as well, Tate, is we need to be relational as well, like in the workspace. It's not transactional, and people can sense when things are transactional. People can sense when they're opening up to you all the time, and for you, it's kind of the same thing all the time. So what did you do this weekend? It's the same thing you said last weekend. The weekend after that, like people can track. Like okay, so how does one still build genuine relationships? How does one remain relational in the workspace and truly get that buy-in without sharing too much information about themselves?
Yeah, I get you.
I mean, what's the balance? How do you go about that without sharing too much?
Yeah, I think
yourself?
like I said, it's a touch and go. You literally you're supposed to share, but not overshare.
Okay.
Because you're trying. It's a trust. You're trying to build that, and I think you get to see people over a long period of time.
Okay.
There are people that you have seen that throughout the years they've been consistent, and they also treat other people well. They are not just a good colleague to you; they're a good colleague to others.
People.
So when you see that person does not change. They're not chameleon type, because many a times people they when they want something, they are in the best behaviors.
Yeah.
So it takes you in corporate to really, because corporate is for people who you're playing chess. It's a chess game from day one.
Literally from day one.
Because you're in the business of people, you're managing relationships, you're trying to see who is it that I can really, really develop, I can trust. Because it's somewhere, somehow, you're gonna have to find someone that who's gonna have your back.
Yeah.
But you don't just now, give anyone. You have to really see, especially if you share the same values. And I'm saying the same values, I'm talking about someone who wants to do well.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone who does not complain, someone who does not cause grief. So those are the things that because it's your brand.
Like
because basically you're
a common goal.
Yes.
They
because
speak so loud, it's unfair.
Exactly.
So loud.
So they will see. So you will find that you're always, brushed with painted with the same brush.
Sure.
So it's important that who you associate with the company, and you see as well.
You need to be very intentional. Like he's saying, it's a chess game. It's not like just let it develop.
Yeah.
I think you need to be intentional. You share the same values: honesty, hard work. Honor, diligence. Good attitudes. Good attitudes, and you're like, we
to the
can
ones
move
that
together.
they are also commending. There are people that your managers and your executives are commending.
Yeah.
Don't hate that person.
Yeah, learn.
That's the person that you're supposed to learn and be friends with them, because they have something that the seniors they see that this person has.
Notice.
But
and just to build on what also Tate is saying, I also want to take a layered approach, in the sense that I know socially someone can jump in the deep. You can meet someone now and jump in the deep with them. But I think in this space, you really want to peel almost like an onion layer by layer. So that because the truth is, if there's no sense of honesty from your side, all your attempts at building a relationship are futile. So because like what Tate said the other time, in the sense that I can tell when you're being dishonest with me and being transactional with me, trying to network me so you can get into the in crowd. So you do have to be honest in your approach, I think, because you can sense. Someone exudes that energy where you know that, I know I'm a transaction. This man wants to be in the in crew and is using me. So, but layer by layer, step by step, and you won't immediately maybe know, who my partner is, and those sort of things. But maybe you'll know what I like to do on weekends. Maybe you'll know, where I went to school. Maybe that sort of thing, and little by little, you get there.
But one thing I've noticed, they are not a lot.
They're not.
The person that you're looking, you might not be looking for. You're just looking maybe for one person. They are not a lot.
One is enough.
So you can't be
I
friends
think
with the
one
whole,
is enough.
with the whole building.
It's even hard to find the one.
Because I mean, you're gonna be being pulled through and through. You have to be friendship. When we're talking about friendship, it's synonymous to loyalty. You have to at some point choose.
And you don't want a type of loyalty that's gonna
cost you.
compromise
Expensive.
you.
You know, there's expensive
loyalty where you're gonna lose
you're putting out
all the time.
Yes, and it doesn't have to be direct. I saw that. It doesn't. It's literally association. You can be disconsidered for a promotion because of
association.
Yes.
Meanwhile, you are trying to do your
you're
job.
working.
They just
You're like, oh, you're friends with so and so.
And it just leaves some sort of taste in someone's mouth.
I mean, when they are saying team player, I think most people, when they look at that in the CVs, when they say team players, they are thinking that someone who plays with the team or someone who's friendly. They are not looking for that. They are looking for someone who is in line. Or a group of people who are in line with what management is looking for. The team player with management, not with you guys. Not with your friends. They are talking about team player with the management. That's what they are trying to do. So that's what they are looking for. That's the team player. How you guys do it in the peripheries, they don't really care. They really want to say, if we say something, you align. A bunch of people who align and support and are loyal to that vision. That's the team player.
The vision.
The team player is from management. It's not from the peers. It's from management. They are looking for someone. Yes, not canteen team players, because they don't want strikes. I mean, they don't want strikes. It's their biggest problem. Any employer doesn't want strikes, and it's these people who are into strikes, into
team playing.
Exactly. That's one of the things that they don't want. They want to avoid drama, because they are into profits. They are into productivity. So if you give them, strike vibes and, always fighting them, definitely that they are not going to put you in their spaces.
And so-called team fit is more so compliance.
That is correct.
Like you always say, they play you to comply, not to be relevant.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So the question, guys, we spend 8 hours at work, if not more. And
these days it's really more.
Exactly. So let's say minimum, 11, 10, 11. We're young, we're single.
Yeah, well, y'all are single.
Now I see that guy over there in the tech department.
Knows what he's doing.
Knows what he's doing. Good, good team player.
Eager beaver,
very compliant.
And he could be that partner.
And then, we're people. Then feeling starts to now have a little crash, like Pastor Tate said, and maybe the crash is two-way.
And now he's here, he's killing his presentation. I mean, come on. It's building.
What is your stance?
Dating.
Before we unpack, for or against dating
at work?
Can we date? Especially for young professionals, the young ones. Who spend 8 hours at work, but probably sometimes 11.
A personal view, not a prescription. It's a personal view. I don't think it's wise, especially if you're like really in like the same department or business unit, because some organizations are really big, and you can date someone. It's like you're dating someone in another business.
Okay.
But like the closeness proximity matters, because you still need to be able to carry on with your life. In the event this thing does not work out, right? So I think proximity plays a big role. So basically it depends how big your company is, where he is, same business unit, how far are you from each other? How can you carry on if you guys break up and stuff? So but if it's in a small firm, it's a small, it's like a family unit thing.
Because cloud is a lot of things and mud is a lot of waters. Because imagine if you guys fought the previous day, it's gonna show. If especially in a small space, it's gonna show. Where you are supposed to be ending. Imagine people are working in production or whatever. They're supposed to be ending each other, tools or whatever.
Just throwing him with the tool.
So it becomes very tricky. Generally companies, they don't encourage that because it affects, because they know the drama that comes with relationships. So totally disregard. They don't encourage that. If you manage to find your space, especially in close proximity, one has to find another department or one has to find another job. If you guys love that marriage, you're serious about it, one has to take. Because it's just work. You meet each other at home if you're married, right? So it's not like you need to be, because it creates a lot of drama. And the thing is, it arrived from experience. I've heard cases where people dated properly, but when it went sour, it turned into sexual harassment.
Imagine, like today we were dating and tomorrow is sexual harassment.
Turned into sexual harassment.
Yeah,
because the guy then was not feeling the relationship, and then found the colleague or the friend from another department and started not giving her attention. And ladies, they will show you.
Yeah,
I will show you.
They will show you.
Yeah, that's right.
They will show you, definitely.
So then in that event, I'm now dating this person. For the sake of everybody else, do I just close? So let's say it has happened.
Yeah.
And do I just close? Do I tell my colleagues? Is it a secret between him and I? Do I tell my manager?
Yeah, you have to disclose. So
most people keep it a secret, but I think it's safer to disclose, especially for men. I think.
Yeah, it is.
For men, yes.
Yeah, it is important.
Agree with that.
It is important for people
actually
to know.
For either of the two, because even men do.
Yeah, sexual
harassment and not. So for both of you, it's just safer. Because now, if everyone knows that you're in a relationship, it's there. Whereas if it's not known and someone comes tomorrow and cries sexual harassment, if it wasn't as well, then at least you've got that thing that we've disclosed, that we're in a relationship and we're both consenting and whatnot. And I don't know. So what happens if now I'm not consenting anymore? I need to go and disclose.
You must disclose again that we don't want the relationship. And I think everything must be in writing, especially in those spaces, because especially in those spaces, everything must be in writing, so that at least you can capture everything in the event that you are confronted with that situation. So
you just want to keep yourself safe, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're just like, one of us should leave. Like, it's a hard one to manage.
And in terms of stigma, do you find that it does create a sense of these people are not serious? I'm not saying they're not serious, but just a sense of, like, to maybe your senior manager, now you've disclosed your relationship.
Yeah.
Let's say you just looked at it.
Yes, because if you don't perform well, they'll just think, since
your relationship.
They started with this... Since they started with this relationship, this person is no longer conscious. Their butterflies are all over
the place.
We can see them in the Excel spreadsheet.
Now it's like you're not serious.
It's like you're not serious. So that's the challenge, So when you are in a relationship with a colleague or whatever, you actually have to work extra hard, and you have to show that you're not being confused. You're not you really know what you're doing.
Sure. Yeah. And imagine breaking up and then.
You see, that's the problem. And I think when you decide
someone else, it's like then you're also not a proper. I don't know.
I think there has to be serious conversations to say, what is it that you guys serious about this? What is the main thing? And I think that's one of the things that also even managers at work must have conversation, especially with young people. Guys, is this just a fling? What's happening? Is there marriage? Are parents knowing how far? I think you literally have to intervene.
I don't think my 2000 are up for this.
Yeah, but they have to, because it's gonna cause drama. Because
at the point where you break up, you just seem so unserious.
Unserious, that's my problem. Yes, people break up all the time outside, and it's normal. Now you like this.
So even it becomes so difficult now. Even it becomes tricky because you can't even apply leave. You have to literally separate your leaves now, because now you're like, you guys want to go together. When you, for some reason, you fall sick with the flu or virus, and both of them you don't
It's
come.
Suspicious
it's
already.
Suspicious already. So they did it deliberately. So you see, it becomes...
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So that's why it's important to try and... Proximity matters.
Yeah.
Especially, but the challenge is... You seldomly do you find people dating someone from another department because you hardly see them. So the people that are close to you, those are the people that most likely you're going to have an inclination towards. So that becomes a challenge. So I think declaring it.
Imagine if the other one is like a senior or whatnot. Now you want to apply for promotion. If they give you that promotion, it's like
You see,
it's
those
like
are
a
the
lot.
If
So
they have
Even though
any
you
sort
were
of
deserving
influence,
of that promotion,
it
or
affects.
raise.
It's a career growth limitation.
Yeah.
Especially dating in the same space. It's a career
Yeah.
growth limitation because in whatever you do, people will always say, even if you are, you are worth it, they always say no.
Say
It's
no.
because of the relationship. That's why you went. And
Yeah.
the thing is, it becomes tricky to one who is senior. Even to scold you or to rebuke you. I'm not sure. Wait, can you give your girlfriend a warning? I don't know. your boyfriend.
And everybody's watching, right?
Yeah.
It's because like,
It
everyone
becomes
wants
the-
to see what you're going to do.
And the biggest challenge for some of the cases that we have is that it ends up goes south real quick because there becomes a lot of familiarity.
Yeah.
So you
No,
are
I don't
telling,
treat
so
you
the
like
people
that.
don't know how to separate being professional
And
at
being-
work and also being, social at
Social,
home.
yeah.
So sometimes you find that a manager who's dating, a junior person, they are trying to give them instructions. But
it's like
she doesn't want to take those instructions.
Ultimate database.
Yeah, I'll call you later.
And even at colleague level, right?
Yeah.
Then we start doing things like covering for each other.
Yes.
When this one didn't know, I feel like I have to loyalty.
Yes.
Again.
Loyalty.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I mean, if you're up for the challenge, but it's a lot of
It's
work.
a lot. And I've
It's a lot.
really... Yeah, I think one of the things that I've noted in some of the interesting cases that we have dealt with is the older guys. I wouldn't encourage these older guys, who work with the younger people, because I think the more the young ones, they can give you a run for your money, because I think when you get older, I don't know, because these young ones, you tend to be attracted.
Why are we laughing before you even talk?
You tend to be attracted, to them, more kinda. I think
They're still relevant.
they are still relevant, and most of these older guys, they are smitten.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't encourage you to date those young people because they will give you a run for your money. So
They'll do
from the
it.
cases from the cases that I've dealt with, it's not advisable. If you're old, rather date.
Date your age group.
I rather date because they think the level of understanding and level of maturity is at the same. These
That
ones
makes
will
sense.
give you a runaround.
Especially
They
now
won't
when things go
listen.
south.
Yeah.
Especially when things go south, and they will keep the screenshots, everything,
Yeah.
and they will play the victim. So it's not advisable. I'm really reading the mature ones and people, because with the younger ones, they will literally defy your instruction in front of everyone. When everyone is watching. The mature ones, I think they have this
Have
ability to
emotional
say, okay,
intelligence,
we are
yes,
being
Papa.
pushed.
Yes.
These ones can't separate. They can't separate,
This is
and they
what
will tell you
fresh out
there and there, so it
Yeah.
becomes an interesting space. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and you just you look so unserious.
Yeah,
you'll find a
that's the bottom
respectable
line.
EXCO member being dribbled by this intern.
You see,
Exactly, and you're just like,
yeah. and I remember I had a case where it was a similar situation where he was a senior guy and he really liked this specific young person, and the challenge as well when these cases usually come out is when you're a bit senior, the law tends to favor the young ones because they say the bargaining
or
power.
not even the younger, the less senior one, right?
The less senior one, because the bargaining power is not the
Yes,
same.
different.
You have a more authority
Yeah,
over
yes,
these.
yeah.
So even when you ask them out, I mean, you are their senior. You are like a mentor,
Yeah.
and it becomes
Someone
very
can prove
difficult.
manipulation.
Yeah.
Yes.
So manipulation can be proved, because most of them, it usually starts being a mentor. Kinda, and then it flows into relationships. And I think if you want to mentor people, just stick to your gender.
Yeah,
I think
I wanted
that's-
to come to that one because I mean, it also, I think it's the safest thing to do. I agree with you.
Yeah.
And I think people also find it more comfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's just you're not gonna have situations and
That's
stuff.
correct.
But at the same time, I find it so disadvantaging for women because mostly people who are in higher, stats have shown higher positions, excos, leading big organizations are men. now we're getting robbed of that opportunity to be mentored, by such because of this situation. And I'm just wondering how this thing can actually be dealt with, because even if they're not going to cross the lines with you, just the thought of people thinking it that when they are together, what's happening, even if it's a principal guy who would never do that, but people are thinking,
all it takes is a
rumor.
It's I think it's that's the the downside of it, because we don't have a lot of ladies, but I think the dynamics are slowly changing. Women are really taking into those positions. I think the challenge as well is when it's just maybe a topic for another day, but the relationship between women in the marketplace, it's not the best. I think it can do better.
May we go
because
into
sisters,
that, actually?
sisters, they need to support one another, but you find that there is a whole lot of tension. There's a whole lot of things. So I think that also affects the level of mentorship and the level of the quality of the leadership, because batons are not being passed, from a senior generation to a junior ones, and I think both the senior ones, they also don't know their role, and the junior ones do not know their role. So I think it's one of those things that we can develop, as a nation, in terms of being mindful of those opportunities.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
You can go ahead.
Okay, sorry. I just have one last question, right? And it's pretty simple, but I would like to know what you two have to say. It's a very simple question, but how do you maintain just a good and healthy relationship with your colleagues over a long period of time, whilst also just still being an eager beaver? And I mean over a long period of time. How do you maintain a good relationship with your colleagues, just period? What would be your tips, whatever just comes to mind? What to do, what not to do, what to watch out for?
Okay. I think for me, I end up going back to this, even though it's a scripture, but I'll end up going to it because it's really powerful. The whole thing of being as wise as a serpent, but as innocent as a dove, for me, is the tagline. Because I think you should be very unapologetic and clear about your goals and what you want. Everyone should know it, not like in an arrogant way. Like, I really want to grow, I really want to learn, I really want to serve this organization well and give it my best. So when I'm going all out, I'm not trying to be an eager beaver. Well, you are trying to be an eager beaver, but I'm not trying to make you guys look bad or whatnot. I'm just doing it because that's what I'm trying to achieve, right? I'm trying to achieve certain things. That's what I'm here for. I'm not trying to make you guys look bad like you're not doing anything. This is my intention. This is what I want to do. I want to give it my best. So it should be clear. People should know it. So when they see you doing it, you've explained to them why you're doing it, right? And then also, they don't expect anything less of you. Right. So if there's a situation and whatnot, like we're like, oh, we don't want to do, like, there's a situation, people are speaking against management, they're not expecting you to be part of it because they know your stance already. So you don't find yourself in tricky situations. And I think that's something we don't do as people. And I think it's something you need to do from day one. When you walk into that organization, you should be known for that. Right. So that you're never in a compromised situation. Another thing is that at the same time, while you're being wise and all, you really need to be a genuine person, right? So really genuinely be there for people, not even trying to get anything from them, like going there to serve, to be a good person, be there for people. If teammates need help, if you're not crushing anyone, you're not, for you to rise, you really don't need to step on anyone else. You can do it independently, right? So for me, just being genuinely there for, if what I'm helping you with is gonna make you shine without making me shine, it's okay. But I'm genuinely gonna be there for you. I'm genuinely gonna serve the company, even if I'm not in the forefront of it, right? If I'm serving it, even if I don't get recognition, but I know in my heart what I was there to do, and I'm serving, I'm just being genuine. So for me, it's that thing, just having the balance of that, being unapologetic at the same time, being a genuine person to your colleagues, being the best, giving them the best of you that you can possibly give them. So, and I think people will notice that. I've seen people who are eager beavers, but still loved by people. Like they're eager beef. People be like, oh, you know her, she's an eager beaver, but they genuinely love them. They know that that person loves them. They do like they would really go out of their way for them.
People want authentic.
Yeah,
people.
authentic. Just be genuine and authentic. But in doing that, when you're being genuine, and people confuse being authentic with trying to be liked by other people. That's not what it means. So being authentic is I really care about you. I really want the best for you, and I'll help you get there, right? So for me, that's that. But at the same time, I'm not compromising who I am and what I want to achieve. I'm gonna serve this company with my everything. I'm gonna give my all. If it means I stand out in terms of going the extra mile. But that's just So that's all.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Palesa is saying. I think also just be intentional about what you want to achieve. If you want to achieve good relationships with people, be intentional about it. If you want to achieve, being, an eager beaver or doing well in corporate, be intentional about it. It's just you just also have to have boundaries. And you must stand for something. Have values that you stand that you cannot
be all
compromise.
over the place.
Don't just try to do stuff to please people. Because at the end of the day, you're not there to please people. You're there to do well, and make sure that you blow your KPIs out of the park.
You do what you're paid for.
So that's what you're supposed to do at the end of the day. But along me achieving that, I have to also have good people and have good relationships. All right, guys, thank you so much. This marks the end of our podcast for today. Thank you so much for joining. Please remember to like, share, to subscribe. And if you haven't already, please, put the notification button so that you can get all the alerts.
You cannot miss out. You need to be an eager beaver, okay?
Yes. So thank you so much, Pals. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you.
The crew. Thank you so much for gracing us today. So, guys, we'll see you next week. We'll be talking more and more about this corporate jungle. All right. From me and the crew. Cheers.